And then in this class we are going to be looking at a lot of queries and constraints in our Microsoft SQL Server. And in the last class we talked about how we can go about creating our table, our databases, how we can use the add and drop, and then how to insert our data into our tables or into our columns. In this class, and then in the last class too as well, I made mention of a primary key, but I did not make it explicit. I did not make the deep explanation of what and how we use primary key in Microsoft SQL Server. So in this class we are going to be looking at constraints, and in constraints we have the primary key, the foreign key, the unique key, the check, and the not null. So in Microsoft SQL Server, constraint is known as, or we use constraint to enforce rule to the table that we've created or the table that we've updated in our database. So if you have a table, after creating our table, we can make some rule to our table to enforce or make add some constraints, and then we have various constraints in Microsoft SQL Server, or we have different constraints. We have the primary key constraint, we have the foreign key, we have the unique key, we have the check, we have the not null. So in the last class we talked about the not null. What we use not null for: we use it to provide or to tell SQL that this particular column is going to be is not going to take any null value. We have to make sure that we insert some particular data there. If we should not provide not null, that means we can take null values. But if we should make if we should write give a not null constraint to a particular column, and then we go about not inserting any value or any data inside that column, it is not going to work because it is a not null constraint, and it's like a rule that has already been given to our table. So in this class we are going to be looking at primary key, what we use the primary key for, and then how we go about using the primary key. The primary key, we can say the primary key is like a unique key, quite different from the ordinary unique, the constraint unique key. The primary key is used to make uniqueness to columns in our table. For example, let's say in a university, it is a must for students to have a matric number. So my own matric number is definitely going to be different from your own matric number, and then going to be different from another person's matric number. So if you should have a database of students in the university, the matric number column is definitely going to be a primary key because it is unique, it is different from one person to the other person. The main difference between a primary key and a unique key is that a primary key cannot be null. It is a not null constraint. It cannot be null. We cannot have null value in primary key, whereas in a unique key we can have null values. For example, in Nigeria now we have what we know as the national identification number, the NIN. And then the national identification number, it is not all the citizens that has the NIN. So let's say there is a database for all Nigerians. So since we are going to be having some columns that is going to be not null, we are going to be having some null value. That is, this particular person may not be having the national identification number, even though the national identification number is a unique number that two persons cannot have. We cannot have this person and this person are having the same national identification number. No, it is impossible. But the fact that it is not all of them that has it, so we can use the unique key instead of the primary key. But let's say in the university that it is a must for all the students to have the matric number, the primary key is going to be used. So how do we go about using the primary key in SQL? How do we provide primary key to our table? Let's say, for example, we have a table, create table, student info. For example, we have this table. Then in the student info we have the matric number. We have the matric number int. Then this is what we want to use as our primary key. We want to make the matric number our primary key. So just write primary key in front. Then come down to save our time. Let's just add one more column per child, just like the same way that we had it in our last class. So if we should have this table, we are providing the student info. So we are making the matric number under the student info. This is the table that we are creating, the student information, that's the table, and then under the column one of the column is matric number, and then we are specifying that the matric number should be a primary key because it is going to be a unique value, and then it cannot accept null. It cannot accept null. Here as well, don't forget, we have to specify that not null. We have to provide the last name of each of the students. So if we should execute this, that's command completed successfully. So let's go to our database, and then our SQL class, that's the database that we are using, and then the table. Let us refresh our table. So if you should do that, then open your table. We are going to see the student info. That's the table that we just created. Now the student info, open it, then the columns. Now the columns, you are going to see matric number. Now in front of the matric number, can you see we have a key there? It's specifying that we have a primary key in that particular column, and then not null. By default, you can see that it is not specified here. We do not write our not null automatically, or by default. SQL is going, anytime you are using primary key is always going to be not null because it is not expecting any null value right there. So we use the primary key to specify uniqueness in our table, and then it is not very common to have two primary keys in the same table. To have two primary keys in the same table. Let's say, for example, we have student info. In Nigeria, for example, before we can get into the university, there used to be an exam called the UTME, the JAMB. So before you can get into the university, you must at least obtain some certain score in your JAMB. Now, let's say you've gotten admitted using your JAMB. You've scored the required number, the required score, and then you've gotten into the university. Now, the university want to compile your JAMB information and then your school information together. Let's say we have. This is the create table right here, the student info. The table for the student info is the university, the one that the university created for the matric number and then your last name. Now let's say they want to compile your JAMB information together with your student info. Now we are now going to be having two primary key because your JAMB create table JAMB. Don't forget that there is also what you know as the JAMB number, and then the JAMB number for this person is also going to be different from the other person. So now, since we want to combine these two tables together, and then we cannot have it is not sensible to have two primary keys to be stating that we have two unique key in the same table as far as SQL is concerned. So this is where the foreign key comes in. We have to provide a foreign key specifying that one of these keys, let's say we are using the table, the JAMB table. We are specifying that the JAMB table. Let's go on so that we can be able to understand. We have JAMB number. We have JAMB number int, then primary key. Now, for us to get we want to match the information of the matric number. Let's take the matric number now. The matric number, I want to join the matric number to this JAMB table. We want to have them together, but here we have one primary key, and then we don't want to have another primary key. It is not we cannot get it the same way like this, and then go ahead and specify another primary key. It's not going to work. So let's say we want to join the matric number to the JAMB table. What we are going to do is just write your matric number the same way that we have it there, matric number. Then do it normally the same way that you are going to do it, int, then not null. Here we are not specifying yet that it is going to be a primary key. You know that we have it already here as a primary key, but in this form, in this table that we want to join it to, we are not going to be having it as a primary. We are not going to be having it as a primary key directly the same way that we have it here. There is a way that we are going to add the constraints to it. So we have let's say we now have here we use the last name. Now we have the first name. Now the first name, then the virtual, and it can be anything. Don't forget your virtual can be the 40 just specifying the number of character that you can have. And then having this, now we want to let SQL know that this particular table that we are trying to create, it is also a foreign key, a primary key. We want to let SQL know that this particular table, this JAMB table we are creating, the matric number that is going to be under the JAMB table is going to be a primary key as well. Is also a key. It's also a unique key. the matric number that is here is also a unique key. In the previous table, it was specified as a primary key, but because we cannot have primary key together in the same table, there is need for us to now say, okay, one of them is going to be primary key, and then we are going to be referencing the other as a foreign key. That is where foreign key comes in. So we are going to be referencing the other as a foreign key. Both of them is going to be unique. Both of them is more like the primary key the same way. But because we cannot have both of them together, we are going to make one of them a primary key, and then we are going to make one of them a foreign key. A foreign key is a key that is coming from another table. It is not from that table. Remember that the jump number is from this particular table, but the matric number here is coming from the student info table. So it's going to be a foreign key. So how do we go about writing that? We have a constraint. Don't forget, we said primary key is a constraint, a foreign key is a constraint. So provide your constraint name. Your constraint name can be anything. Let's say foreign key representing FK matric, just example. And then now you are not going to specify it foreign key, and then what do you want to make your foreign key? Which one of them is going to be your foreign key? The matric number is going to be the foreign key, and then you are now going to provide a reference. The references to the table that you are trying to get your matric number from. So references. So you have references. Then what table are we referencing? We are referencing the student info table. So this is the table that we are referencing. You can copy it or just write it, just type it normal way. So we are referencing the student table. That's where we are trying to get our matric number from. So we now have matric number. So that is what we are trying to make our foreign key. We want to make this our foreign key. So all we have to do now is just to don't forget, we open a bracket right here, and here we now close the bracket. So that is why we are having the syntax error there. So just write you can see not there. So execute. So immediately we execute, you can see the command completed successfully. The command has been completed. So now we've already added our matric number and then our jump number together to be in the same column, but the matric number here is not different from the matric number here. That is why, because we can go ahead and create, if you should create jump number, a matric number, without specifying that this matric number is a foreign key, it is just going to create a new matric number for you. But now that we are creating, that means we've joined the two tables together by referencing one of them. So the matric number is now is also a primary key from the previous table. From the original table, the matric number on the student info is a primary key, but now since it is coming together with another table, it is now joining to another table, we cannot have the two primary keys together. So that is why we are now specifying that we are writing a constraint specifying that the matric number is a foreign key, that is in its own country, foreign, like something from outside, that from matric number from its own country is also a primary key. So that is what we are trying to do. And if you come right here to your table, we've not refreshed that. We've created another table for jump, create table jump. So refresh your table. The table for jump is going to be created, and then we have, you can see for jump. Now open, if you should open it, we have columns. Open your columns, and then we have, you can see we now have jump number PK. PK means that it's a primary key, and then we have matric number FK specifying that it is we have created a foreign key. So this is the parent, and then this is the child, because we are referencing, we are taking the child from the parent. This is the parent table. This is the parent table. So one thing about the constraint is that it makes it impossible for us to delete any of this. So let's say we want to delete this table, we want to delete the previous table, it is not going to allow us because it is referencing it in another table. So it will not be able to delete. The only way that we can actually go about, if you want, in case you want to delete, you want to make deletion for our table, so that it's going to delete both the child and then the parents. One thing that we can do, the only thing that we can do is make sure that our onDelete cascade is on. But we are not going to be using it in this class since it is not necessary. We are not making any deletion. So we have to on delete cascade. So if your on delete cascade is on, then you can go ahead and make deletion. But if this one is not together with your queries that you've run before, you cannot make deletion. You cannot make any you cannot make deletion to your table, because it is referencing the child, and then the child and then the parents are referencing each other. So there's no way for you to go about deleting your primary key. Now let's say, for example, we have a table. Here we are having our primary key in the John table, like we created it when we were creating our table. We added our primary key. Now let's say when we after creating our table, we forgot to add a primary key. Let's use our previous class, the previous table that we created in the last class. So let's try and get this. In this particular table, we do not have a primary key. We do not specify which one is going to be a primary key. We do not specify we do not have a primary key in this table. Now, how do we go about it? Since it was not added before, what we can do is use your alter command. You use your alter command to make changes to your table. Don't forget, it's a DML command that we are using to manipulate around your data. So how do we go about that? We have your alter table. Which table do we want to alter? We want to alter the SQL class table. SQL class. So we want to alter this table. Then what do we want to do? We want to add a constraint. Don't forget, we said primary key, foreign key, the unique key, they are all called a constraint. So we have a constraint. We have a constraint, add constraint. Then what constraint? What's the name of the constraint that I want to add? You can try to go around play and just write anything here. Primary key for let's say in this table. Don't forget, a first name cannot be primary key, because John, we can have millions of people bearing John in the same. We can have hundreds of people. You can have a lot of different people bearing the same name in the same organization. The same thing as the last name. The same thing as the age. We can have different people are in the same age range in an organization. Same thing as destination. So the closest one is our phone number. Our phone number can still be primary key. Our email address also can be our primary key, because they are unique. The phone number can only be to an individual, and then the email number can only be given to an individual. So you can say, okay, phone number. Want to make the phone number a primary key. You can write anything you want for the constraint name. Then after doing that, then specify primary key, and then what do you want to make your primary key? Which of the column do you want to make your primary key? You want to make the phone number column. You want to make the phone number column our primary key. So immediately we are done with that primary key, this, then execute. Okay, we are not referencing references. That's our table SQL class. SQL class, and we have what are we having here? So we have phone number. So there is still error there. Keyboard references, phone number. Table, we have definition for table. We have SQL class, add constraint, PK, phone number. Let's run this. Where is so we can identify where the error is coming from. We have the phone number. So we have alter table, SQL class, add constraint, there's the PK phone number, then primary key. Want to make the phone number a primary key. Okay, the error message say the table SQL class already has a primary key defined on it. So we've already a primary key has already been created. So that was the mistake. That's why we are having that problem, that error message. Let's say let's create a different table. Let's create a different table, new query. Then we have create table. Then what's the name of the table? Let's say SQL class 3. That's the name of the table. And then we want to create employee ID, and then int not null. So let's say this is the table that we created. You just want to create that. Then after creating is completed successfully, after creating, we now realize that our employee ID should be a primary key, should have a primary key. The reason why we could not provide a primary key to that was that we already have a primary key to that particular the SQL class. We have columns. So the phone number is already a primary key. I've already provided a primary key for that in our previous after the previous class. So I provided the primary key. That's why I was not able to add another primary key to that. So that's why I'm creating another table, so that you can be able to understand how we can go about adding a primary key to that. And then again, don't forget, we can still drop the same way we added that constraint. We can still drop the primary key that is here, so that we can still add it again. So I'm going to come back to that. Now we have let's say this one, we want to add alter table. Then which table? The SQL class 3. SQL class 3 as the table that I want to alter. Then add constraint. Don't forget, say this one can be anything. Primary key, employee. Let's just put it like that. Employee. So primary key, add constraint, okay, employee. Now primary key. So what am I providing the primary key for? The primary key, the column that I'm providing the primary key for is the employee ID. So that's where I'm providing my primary key to. So if I should run this, execute this, completed successfully, you can see I was able to add a primary key. Now come to this table and then refresh. If you do that, I'm going to have one more table added to the now SQL 3. Now SQL 3 expand columns. Then the column, you can see a primary key has been added to this. Now let's say I want to alter the previous table that I have, the SQL class, the original class that we used in the first class, this one. I want to alter, I want to drop the primary key, I want to drop the constraint that's there. So we have the alter table, the table that I want to alter, SQL class. Then drop. Now don't forget, we are dropping. We want to drop constraint. Now what we have to provide the name of the constraint of that class. So we need to the constraint that we have here. So it is PK matrix for this. We made the matrix as a primary key. Here, the SQL class, maybe the matrix. I don't think we have a matrix there in the SQL class. No, we don't have a matrix here. So our columns, we have the columns there. So the primary key is the phone number. The phone number is the matrix number. So if we should get the constraint, that's why we have to make sure that we know the name of the constraint. So since I've created that before and I could not remember the constraint, the exact constraint that is there. So let's say, okay, let's use this key first. The PK matrix for PK matrix. I think that was what I used. Drop that constraint for me. So if I should run this, execute, completed successfully. So let's refresh. Let's try and refresh that. refresh, then colons. Okay, phone number. I think the PK matrix was what I used as a constraint to get the phone to make the phone number a primary key, and now you can see that the phone number is no more a primary key. So that's how you can go about adding a constraint and then dropping a constraint. So in a SQL. Another thing that we'll be looking into is the view creation. How do we create views in Microsoft Excel? I think by now you should be able to understand the primary key, the foreign key, and we said the unique key is also, you use this foreign key the same way that we use the primary key and then the foreign key, the same way, the same syntax. So just you have to know that in unique key you can have null values, and in primary key you cannot have null values in there. So you cannot have empty data. You cannot have empty information as far as primary key is concerned. So now to create view in a SQL, we use view to create a virtual table, to bring out a table, to bring out the kind of table that we want. We've already created for the SQL class, for example. We have this view, we have this table. This is what we created. Now we want to bring out some views, not very different, or not something that is a big deal. So what you have to do is just create view. You're trying to create view. The view name, you can name your view anything, maybe view SQL. That's the name that I want to provide. View our SQL. Ask, we use the ask here, the ask command. Ask select from, we have to specify the table that we are trying to create a view from. As select your asterisk. There is a difference here. I'm still going to make explicit explanation about that. When you are selecting, we are going to be using the select command very well in SQL. That's like the most useful command in SQL. So your select, if you are selecting the entire table, you want to select the entire table, you use your asterisk, select everything. The asterisk means everything. Select all the data from. So from which table do you want to select from? What is the name of our table? From SQL class. From SQL class, I want you to select all the data from. Give me a view of all the data that are in SQL class. So execute this. It's going to, you can see, provide command successfully, command completed successfully. So come to view, refresh, come to view, and then you're going to see that a view has been created for this particular data. You can see now DBO view SQL. View SQL is the name of my view, and then if you should select, just like the same way, select top 1000 rows, is going to be giving you the view of all the data that we have, more like selecting or using the SQL class. But if you should select everything here, it's going to be giving you everything that you have there. There's no way that you can configure the kind of view that you want. But here, using the view, you can say, oh, this is what I want you to view for me. Let's say, for example, I don't want it to give me everything. I use the select, then the asterisk, which specifies that I want to select everything. Let's say I want to create a view that will not select everything for me. Create view. The name of my view, I cannot have the same view name. So view SQL2. Then as select, what do I want to select from it? Let's say I want to select age. Select age. Maybe I want something else. Age and salary. Then I want you to create a view of age and salary alone for me. So select age and salary. Then I have to specify from which table am I getting it from. So which table? From SQL class. So from SQL class, create a view of age and salary for me from SQL class. Then if I should execute this command, completed successfully. My view, refresh. So if I should refresh this, open, you can see now I have SQL2. If I should select this, it should give me the view. Now it's going to be selecting only the age and the salary for me. You can see, so now selecting only the age and the salary for me. So that's the difference between the view and then coming here and then select the top. If you select here, you cannot configure how many do you want to see, but you can do that when you are using the view. That okay, I want to see just I don't want to see everything. Let's say you have a large data and then you are not interested in seeing all of them, you just want to see some specific. So that is what you use your view for. Use your view to get that kind of data. So you can still create tables and then go about how you can use your how you can create views in SQL. One thing again is that when you are using your insert, we have different ways. If you want to insert, you can just insert normally the same way that we've been inserting before. But now the insert that we have here, we can insert one table. We can insert the information of one table to another table if their conditions are met. So you can insert the data of let's say we have our tables. Let's say the information from SQL class. If you want to insert the information of SQL class into this information of let's say the SQL theory, that's what you want to do. Then mind you that the condition must be the data type. Every condition has to be the same before you can use the insert to insert that type of data. So I don't think we have the same data that we can actually have the same data that we can insert into each other. But in case of we want to try, we can use the insert into, then your table name, the new table name that you want to insert into. Okay, let's just try it. I want to insert into this, the new table name that I want to insert to SQL class. Let's say I want to insert into SQL class 3, for example. And then what do I want to insert? What exactly do I want to insert? Let's say from here, from the SQL class, I want to insert the age. Let me see what we have in the SQL class 3. In SQL class 3, what are we having there? What column are we having there? We have the employee ID. So let's say what is related to some extent. Let's say the phone number. I want to export the phone number. I want to insert the phone number. I want to insert the phone number of SQL 3. So if I want to do that, then you now select I want to insert phone number, select from, if I want to select everything, let's say I want to insert all the data I have in my previous table. This is how I'm going to go about it. I'm going to use the asterisk, that is insert everything to this new table. But because I don't want to insert everything, I just want to go about inserting let's say I just want to get just a particular column. What column do I want to insert into? I want to insert into a phone number too as well. Phone number. I want to insert into phone number. This one I think I already have it before because it is a new. You know that phone number here is for the table that I already have in a SQL class. So I already have a phone number there, and this is a new table that I want to insert into. So I have to specify, or I just have to, let's say I just make this one employee ID to not confuse us. Employee ID. So select phone number. If I want to still make another condition, let's say select phone number, select age, you just use your comma sign, select age, select phone number, select salary. But I only want to select phone number. Then from which table do I want to select from? From which table do I want to select phone number from? So that is SQL class. From SQL class, then close my bracket. If I should run this, execute, you can see 4 rows affected. 4 rows has been affected. Now let me my SQL class 3, refresh my SQL class 3. So immediately I do this, open the columns. Now the employee ID that is here, now select this for me, and now I'm going to see that the phone number that is in SQL class, the phone number that is here, let's say we have something similar. We have a phone number here, and as well we have a phone number here. Let's say this one is not employee ID and it is phone number, and both of them are the same thing. Instead of me to be copying or to be writing all over again, I can just use the insert using that syntax and insert, and then I'm going to insert the data from one table to another table. You can see now I now have this here. So this is how we can insert, go about insert one the data from one column or from one table to insert it to another table. We also have the update command. So we use the update command to update the table. We don't use it to if you want to make changes to your table. Let's say there is a particular person. Let's try and look at that. Firstly, let's say in this, okay, so let's say we want to see everybody here. Now after some years, these people has been working for years, and then Taylor Norman, let's say Kennedy Lehman, after 4 years, I decided to, okay, as the CEO, I want to increase the salary of this particular person. I want to increase his salary from 20,000 to 30,000. So if I want to do that, I do not have to start delete. I do not have to delete the entire column then enter it again. No. So I use the update. You can use the update command. Update. So just use the update. So what do I want to update? The table name that I want to update. I want to update the SQL class. Then what do I want to do? Set. Use the update and set together. Update and set. Set what? Set the salary. Set the salary of equals to now this new salary that I want to give the person. I want to give this person, I want to give him 6,000. I want to start giving this person 6,000. 60,000. I want to start giving this person 60,000. So from 20, I want to take it to 60. Where I have to specify a condition. If I say update SQL class set salary is equal to 60,000, then I run this. Then SQL is going to give everybody 60,000 because I'm not specifying a condition where I want to make the change. So you use the where condition to specify, to be specific about where you want that change to happen. So I have the update SQL class and set the salary to be 60,000. Where now I can say where the age is 33, where the age is equal to 33. I can say where for example, where age is equal to 33. If I should run this, it's going to make changes to Taylor Norman. Taylor Norman is going to be 60,000 now. But remember that it is Kennedy Lehman that I want to change. So I have to look for something that is unique. That it is not going to. That is why we have to have the primary key, and then we have to have a unique number that is going to be differentiating one person from the other person, so that we will not be doing the same thing. If I should say where designation is equal to marketer, this is going to change the salary of both marketers to 60,000. But I have to look for something that is unique to these people, so I can say where something that is unique here is age. The age is unique because Kennedy Lehman is the only 44 here. I can say where the first name of the employee is equal to Kennedy. I can say where the last name of the employee is equal to Lehman. I can say where the designation is accountant. I can say where the phone number is, copy the phone number and then type it down. But because to save our time, we can work around that. So where age is equal to 44, let me just do that. Where age is equal to 44, update, and then one row is already affected. Now come to your SQL class and select it again. So you're going to see that Kennedy Lehman is now 60,000. I've updated the salary of this particular person. I've updated the table. This is how you update table in SQL. You don't have to cancel. You don't have to delete. You don't have to just start again. That okay, you made a mistake or you want to make an update. You now delete. No, you just have to use the update command. So that is one of the things that we have. Now another thing that we have is the delete. We can use the delete. Don't forget we said in the first class the Microsoft PowerPoint that presented the class, the first class that we had, we said that we use truncate to delete a table, entire table. We want to delete the entire table, but we use the delete and we use the drop to get away with a column. We don't want to use a column again. Use the drop to drop a column, and then we use the delete to delete some data sets, some particular data sets. You even have to provide a condition where necessary. For example, delete. I want to delete from where I want to delete from SQL class. So delete from SQL class. What do I want to delete? I can say I want to delete maybe the information, or maybe the salary. I want to delete the salary. Delete salary. Where delete delete from SQL class, where I have to specify the condition now, where salary is equals to, I want to delete the entire row. So I can make I can make different where condition, where first name is Kennedy, where last name is Kennedy, where age is 44, where designation is accountant. I can go about all of this. So if I just want to I just want to make alteration to, I want to delete Kennedy, it's no more around, it's no more working with us. So delete from SQL class, that's our table, and then where salary is 60,000. So if I should run this, execute. So one row is affected. That means I've made deletion to that particular row. Do this again. Select. So we can see the person earning 60,000 has been removed, has been deleted from here. One thing again is that so that we not be coming here and use the select stop on the every now and then. You can always use your select from, we are selecting everything, select from SQL class. You can see select from SQL class. This asterisk means everything. Now select everything from SQL class, then run this. It's going to give us everything. Instead of us to start coming here and use a right click and select up, we can just use the syntax, select everything from SQL class, and then it's going to be right with here. Another way that we can use the select is, let's say we want to play around and then want to select some maybe the top earners. We want to select the top people, or we want to select the first person. We can go around and use the syntax select. Now we have to specify, maybe let's say we want to select the top 2. Select top 2, open your bracket, select top 2, then from, we want to select top 2 from the table SQL class. Select the top 2 from SQL class. Okay, it has to be the stack there. So select top 2 from SQL class, execute, and then the top 2 is going to be selected. You can see. So this is another way that we can use our select. We use select a lot in SQL. Let's say you want to select and use your order. We have something we call the order. We have the filter in SQL. The order. Let's use the order. We can order our selection by ascending order. We can order our selection by descending order. Let's say we want to select top 2. Select top 2 from SQL class, just the same way. But now I want to make an order. I want you to order, specify the column you want to use to order. If you say order ascending order, it is not going to be understandable because it is just going to be like it's going to be abstract. You have to specify which column do you want. Is it the first name? You want to arrange the first name in ascending order. You want it to ascend. You want it to arrange the last name in ascending order. You have to specify the column name that you want to do that for. Let's say you want to use the salary in descending order. Now I want the highest to come first. So salary, order by, sorry. You should order you should make the order by salary, and then you use DSC as to represent descending. If you should do this, execute, it's going to arrange it in descending order. You can see select the top two. Let's say you want to select everything, select from SQL, order by salary. You can see everything is going to be selected. If you want ascending order, if it's ascending order that you want to do this, execute, then you are going to have it in ascending order from the smallest to the highest. So these are the way that we can select a lot of we can use to retrieve. We use it for retrieval. Yeah, we want to retrieve, okay, somebody, your CEO, your guy in your, or your boss in your organization said that, okay, I want you to get me this particular person. So select, you can say select from SQL class where first name is John. You can do that, and then you get the information needed for that particular person. Another way that we can use the select is okay, we can use it to select distinct. If you want to select distinct value, we want to know the what is distinct here, but it's going to give me everything, because we don't have assuming I have two people taking the same salary. Let's say we have 50,000, another 50,000, another 50,000. So if I want to select distinct, I just want to select the distinct value. It is going to take out the repetition for me. It's just going to give me just one person. Let's say for example, I don't have distinct number here. I don't have any value that are the same. Assuming I have the same value, okay, marketer here. So I can use that because I have two values that are the same. So I can want to select the distinct. If I should select the distinct, it's going to give me the manager and the marketer alone. That is, those are the two the main designation that I'm having, but they are repetition. But I don't want to select the repetition. I just want it to select the two designation that I have. So select distinct. I want to select distinct. Then the column name that I want to select designation. So I want to select designation, and then from where? From SQL class. So if I should run that, execute, you can see these are the unique values that I'm having in that particular in that column. So I'm having manager and marketer, even though I have a lot of marketers, but the main headers that I'm having is that I have a manager and I have marketers in that particular database or table. So if I want to have that again, I can just execute this so that everything is going to come back. But you know that you have, if you should follow this previous class, you are going to be having 20. So you can walk around the 20 and play around it anywhere you want using this set of queries. Now let's say, so this is how you can use the order. You can use the order ascending or in descending order. Now there is something we call filtration. We use the filtration. We have under filtration we have logical operators, and then logical operators we use the and, or, and not. For the apart from logical operator, we still have the comparison operator still under filtration. We use it to filter out the way that we want to retrieve our data. We can still filter. For example, let's say we have select from SQL class where, please forget, we use the where condition where we want to be specific about what we are trying to do. So where salary is greater than, now this is filtration. We want to filter out, we want to know the specific one that we want. The specific, we are now going narrower. You know, if I say where salary is I can be able to retrieve all the data under salary. But if I want to specify that, okay, this is a particular thing I want to get the highest earner, maybe the average salary that I'm given in my department is 30,000, that in my organization is 30,000. Now I want to know everybody that are any above 30,000. So I can say select from SQL class where salary is greater than 30,000. So if I should run this, where salary is greater than 20,000, so you can see it is bringing out people that are earning more than 30,000 for me. And then I can still say where salary is greater than 30,000, order by salary, then maybe ascending order if I want ascending order. So there are different ways we can combine. You can see that I'm combining the filter and then the other queries together. So these are the ways that you can make beautiful queries in SQL. So now let's say I'm not using the order. I just want to select from SQL class where salary is greater than 30,000. Now this is where the logical operators comes in. Let's say I still want to, let's select everything first. I want everything to come out. Select everything for me. Now I want to make this query where salary is greater than 30,000. I want to use the and, or, and not. We have the and, we have and, not, and then we have the or. We have the and, or, not, or command. So now let's say I want to select from SQL class where salary is greater than 30,000, and I want to be specific, and the age of that person, the age is greater than, or you can say equals to, or the age is equals to. I want to be very, very specific where age is equal to. Let's say if I want to confuse okay, then I don't want to say confuse, I just want to confuse myself. If I should put 23, you know that the person that is greater than that is 23 is any less than 30,000. So if I should run this, it's going to give me empty. I'm going to have empty. You can see, because there is nobody that is 23 years old and is any greater than 30,000. Let me bring everything back. Now let's say I have, okay, that is greater than 23. If I should say that is greater than, where age is greater than 23 now. So let me run this. I'm going to have the 2 coming to me. You can see now, because the age is, I've already given the command that the age is greater than 23, and then the salary is greater than 30,000. So this is where I can use the and. I can use the and operator here. So let's say we want to use the and operator to bring about 2 conditions. We are given 2 conditions, and then both of them is going to use the and. But let's say we have or. We use or for getting 2 commands. I mean for 2 conditions as well. But one of the conditions may be satisfied, but here the 2 conditions must be satisfied, because it must be greater than 30,000 and the age must be greater than 23. But now let's say I want to use the or. Select everything from SQL class where salary is greater than 30,000 or age is equal to 30. I'm making either of the condition may be satisfied, so it's not a must that I have 30. It must be greater than 30,000. This all means that I should select the SQL should select from this data, from this table for me, where the salary is greater than 30,000 or where the age is 30. Assuming I'm having more than 30, if I should have somebody else that is 30 years old, it's going to select the 2 for me, even though the person's salary is not greater than 30,000. So if the person's salary is not greater than 30,000, but I'm giving a condition that is that if I give me the data of people that are earning the salary greater than 30,000 or where their age is 30. So if I should run this, it's going to bring 1 for me, because that's just the okay, 2, because I have, okay, 2 people are satisfying this condition. Yeah, the 2 people are satisfying the condition, because we have a 30 years old and then we have somebody that is earning greater than 30,000. So these are the way that you can still go about querying out, and that's how you use the and or the and or and or, sorry, we have the and then the or logical operator. We can still use the not. We use not as not in or not in between. Let's say we have select from SQL class where salary not between. Now I'm trying to, we use not command, we use not command to negate a condition. I want you to negate a condition for me, to bring the opposite. So not between 30, not between let's say not between 30,000 and 50,000. So give me the salary. Don't give me the people where their salary is not between 30,000 and 50,000. So it's going to give me just 1. That person that is 20,000. because we have between 30,000 and 50,000. We have these two people. These two people are earning between 30,000 and 40,000. Now I'm not saying that you should give me where these people are not earning, that where I not have anybody right there. You can see now I do not have 20,000 is not between 30 and then the 50,000. So this is another way that we can use our query. We have the or, and then the not. So we can use the not in between, maybe not in, maybe you are using location, maybe not in, select from so where the manager is not from USA, or where the manager is not in. So there are different ways that we can go about that. Another thing that we have again is the comparison operator. The comparison operator, in the comparison operator we have the equals to, we have the greater than, we have the less than, we have the we use this one as not equals to, exclamation, and equals to, not equals to. We can have greater than or equals to. We can have less than or equals to. So we can have like, we can have between, just like the way we have it. We have between, you know that we use not between here, so we can still have between, which is not going to be in a negative way. So we have between, we have in, and some of them too as well. So let's use, I think we've used some of them here. Yeah, the equals to, where age is equals to, where age is greater than. We can say where age is greater than or equals to. So different ways that we can have them, or where age is not equals to, using the exclamation and the equals to sign. But since we've used most of this, and then we can still go about this, let us just focus on the like, between, and then the in. How do we go about using the like? If we want to use like, we use like to get, let's say we have a lot of customers, or we have a lot of employee in our organization, and then they have almost similar name. They have similar names. Well, we want to query out. We don't know their particular name. Somebody just call me. I need somebody. Okay, I want to get the data of one person. The name is John. I know it's John, but I'm not very sure. Maybe Johnson or John anything, or maybe the person is Kenneth something. Maybe it's Kenny, or maybe it's Kennedy, or maybe it's Ken. I don't know. So it can, but the person is not very sure. Now, if I want to get, okay, the employer is not sure, but then I want to, as a data analyst, you have to create out the people. Since you are not sure of that particular person name, you can use the like to get out everybody that are care in that company. So we can say this is how you go about it. Select from SQL class where maybe the last name or the first name. Okay, let's use the last name. Yeah, the last name, where the last name of the employee, where the last name of the employee like. Now use your like, where the last name of the employee like. Now you open your bracket. What is the first name of that person? Where the first where the person name starts with D, then use your percentage. Okay, it's going to be string. Don't forget, use a string data. Where like D, we use the string. You already know what we use the string for, to create out a string data type. And then we have the percentage. We use the percentage to like lock it. That okay, we are locking that. We just want you to select only the default. Select where the people are, where the name starts with D. Then execute this. We're going to have, you can see John Duell. As me, I have a lot of D is going to be giving me. Let's say I have D at the back of my percentage. They are not going to have anything, because this is specifying that the percentage means that we have a lot of names, then it ends with D. If I should run it, I don't think I have anybody that the name ends with D here. No. So, but if I should use, you can still use your percentage. That this means that the D, the name of that person contains D, but you don't know exactly, maybe the first name or the last name. You just know that the person name contains D. So you can use the percentage in front and then the back, then you execute. If you should do that, you can see bringing out this person as well. So this is one of the ways that you can still go about using your select command. We have a lot of, by now you should be able to write a lot of queries using the select, using the drop, a lot of them. One thing that we still have again is the case. We have the case expression. There's something we call the case expression, where you are going to be giving a lot of case expression. So you can give different condition and tell SQL that, okay, if this condition